Hello, and what is going on today, guys? Tomcat here, and today you join me in Forza Horizon 3, where we have created a in-game replica of the new Dodge Challenger Demon. Now, we have gotten as close as possible to the 840 horsepower and 770 foot-pounds of torque that the factory Demon makes. We've also copied the rear-end ratio for the gearing, and we've also done a few other things to try to make it as close to the Demon as possible. We've installed the wide body kit, the wide body fenders, to get it as close as we can to the actual body look. And if you can see, we also went with the widest rear tires and the most narrow front tires we could get. Now, these aren't equivalent to skinnies, but they are considerably narrow compared to what you would normally run on a wide fendered Challenger Hellcat. Now, I know the Liberty Walk kit isn't exactly like the Demon kit, but bear with me because our whole point of this particular build is to get as close as we possibly can, even though the car itself is not in the game. So what we're going to be doing a little bit later on is we're going to be showing you guys the actual process of what you need to install to get this particular setup. It actually doesn't take much. If you go through and do way too many upgrades, you're going to go way over the horsepower number, and you're not going to be able to actually get, you're not going to be able to attain the numbers we have here. So we're going to do a little bit of a burnout to warm the tires up and to show you guys how easy it is to do a burnout in this car, even with right around, I think this car is running 842 horsepower. It's got 2 or 3 horsepower more than the actual Challenger Demon. I launch it in third because first and second are just wheel spin. The only way to cure that would be to go with an all-wheel drive system, because unfortunately we don't have drag slicks in Horizon 3. And actually, take that as a side note, and maybe that's something I forgot to include in my 10 things Forza Horizon 4 needs to have video, drag slicks. But anyways, that was lucky as hell. But anyways, the setup on the car, you could convert it to an all-wheel drive system and then send most of the power to the back to get a better launch, but I wanted to keep this thing rear-wheel drive just to see how it would hold the power and how it would react. And like I said, you kind of have to launch it in third gear. That's just how it works, honestly. That's just how it works compared to, if you compare it to any other rear-wheel drive muscle car making this amount of power, that's pretty much where you're going to be. That's pretty much where you're going to be putting yourself gearing wise. You're going to either be launching in second, third, sometimes fourth, considering the power. Now, if I could briefly talk about the Demon itself, I want to talk about how crazy it is, because not only is it making this much power and it'll run the quarter mile in 9.6 seconds at 140 from the factory, but it also comes with a freaking 36,000 mile 3-year bumper-to-bumper warranty and a 6-year 60,000 mile powertrain warranty, which is absolutely insane for a car that makes over 800 horsepower, almost 850 horsepower from a factory car. And the fact that they give you a 60,000 mile warranty on the powertrain is absolutely ridiculous. I mean, I'm sure there are restrictions on that warranty, but at the same time, if you buy a Demon, they know what you're going to do with it. They know you're going to take it to the drag strip. They know you're going to race it. They know why you've picked this car. So I feel like they couldn't really say, well, you took it to the drag strip, so we're not going to cover your Demon. The whole emphasis of why you would buy the Demon is to take it to the drag strip. Now, I will say you need to put a cage in it first, because the NHRA has banned the car unless it has a cage. So in factory spec, technically you can't race it at the drag strip because, again, like I said before, it is banned. But I'm sure there are going to be, I feel like the owners community of Demons is going to be split. You're going to have the guys that are going to drive it on the street, dedicated. You're going to have the guys that are going to take it to the track and then dedicated there. And then those are probably going to be your two main groups, with a few people in between that drive it on the street and take it to the track and drive it there. But at the same time, you're going to have to deal with driving a caged car on the street if you want to take your Demon to the track as well as drive it on the street. So you've got a little bit of a trade-off if a Demon is your target car. Now, would I choose to go with a Demon ever? I don't think I would. I think it's too much of a brick for me. The car itself is very large. It's a lot of power and it's very fast, but the thing is, this is where we get into that kind of topic of a discussion of, you can go 200 million miles an hour in a straight line. Of course, that's a hypothetical number, but you can go as fast as you want in a straight line, but if you have to slow down to 15 miles an hour for corners, you're going to get passed by cars that are less than half your horsepower and arguably more fun to drive. Now, is it fun to plant your foot down and go crazy fast in a straight line? Absolutely it is. The fastest car I've ever driven was a LS swapped single turbo S14 240, making 860 wheel horsepower, and it was an absolute blast to drive. However, I can also say that I've had just as much fun, if not more fun, in cars with half that amount of power, where I could really use the power and the car could handle, and it came together as a complete package. So that's where you kind of get into this power versus handling mindset, and in my opinion, you have to find a happy medium. That's why I'm a big fan of cars like the Lotus Elise, even the Lotus Evora, the Porsche Cayman, even the Porsche 911, the 911 GT3 is a prime example of that, and or the NSX. So I think, in my opinion, I am not the most drag-oriented guy, but I can appreciate the engineering and the power, the raw power, behind building a dedicated drag car. Now, overall, do I think the car is going to sell well? Yes, absolutely. I think the car is going to sell super, super well. I would be surprised if it doesn't. Do I think that it's going to be kind of the end-all, be-all for the factory muscle cars? Probably not. I think we'll probably see some retaliation from Chevy and Ford, but honestly, when you're offering 840 horsepower with a warranty, that's kind of hard to beat. The only thing that I can see coming close to that in the near future is the next iteration, possibly, is the next iteration of the Corvette ZR1, but I don't think it's going to have that much horsepower. I really don't. I'm trying to think of a car that might come close, but at the same time, you know, you think of the next Shelby, for example, the next monster Shelby. It's planned to have a naturally aspirated engine, a naturally aspirated 7-liter. So that's at least what all of the automotive news is saying. So that's kind of out as far as in terms of getting above that 840 horsepower target set by the Demon. But at the same time, I feel like Ford and Chevy probably know that all Dodge is really interested in with the Demon is making a drag car and setting production drag records, which they've done, and that's awesome. But that, again, is really the only thing that they're interested in with the Demon. The Demon is not made to set lap records at the Nürburgring, although they do have a car that is very good at that, known as the Viper ACR, which, the thing is, Dodge is really good at covering their bases. They know they've got the Challenger platform that appeals to the muscle car guys, and that they can pump a ton of power through and go out to the drag strip and set records. They also know that they have the Viper ACR, which they can take to road courses and set records. They have a really, really good kind of stable of cars that they can take to different tracks and set these production records. And which is funny, though, because the Challenger got tons and tons and tons of attention and continues to with the Hellcat and the Demon and all these different iterations of the car, whereas the Viper kind of doesn't really get that same amount of attention. The Viper doesn't really even get anywhere near as much attention as the Vets do. So I'm not sure why the Viper never really seemed to get as much attention. Well, maybe not in terms of attention, but it didn't really ever seem to sell as well. Even in other cars that were priced around the same category as the Viper, they always sold better than the Viper did. And I think that, like I said, the Hellcat has sold well. I think the Demon is going to sell really well, and it's kind of a funny mixture, I will have to say. But this has been a recreation and replica of the Dodge Challenger Demon in Forza Horizon 3. If you guys enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave me a like. Tell me in the comments below what you thought of it. And if you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe for more. I'll see all of you awesome people in the next one. Talk to you guys later.